As a black man living in the US, it took me a little while to come to grips with the reality that my race really changes a lot of different things when pursuing women. Now, there's nothing special or unique about me, but it would be disingenuous of me not to acknowledge that my skin tone does have advantages and disadvantages within the sexual marketplace. Now, growing up in a military family, race didn't really seem to play much of a role of anything on base, at least not as far as I could see. From what I saw, the people and the families were judged strictly on credentials, and the ranks were posted near the doors of the family living quarters just below the family name. Now, because of this, I was just about as oblivious to the racial issues of the outside world as one could be. But all of that changed when I became a civilian at 16 years old due to my parents splitting up. Back when I first found this community and started talking to women on the regular, however, I had that same mentality. I never once asked myself, is race a factor with girls? I mean, sure, I knew that there were some differences, but not enough to make me think I had to make any radical changes, so I dove in headfirst and let the chips fall where they may. Now, even though I did have some success with women, it was very minimal and I did experience a lot of rejection. However, as soon as I became aware of the racial components of game and pickup, I tweaked my approach accordingly. As a result, my conquests with women improved drastically. But a funny thing happened on my way to getting my black belt in women. I stopped approaching black women. Now, this wasn't a conscious choice. It wasn't a conscious choice. Nor was it something that I just woke up and decided to do. It's just a natural progression in my self-improvement renaissance. What I found was that the better I became at smashing pretty girls, the less attractive black women became. Gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, it's an open secret that black women are at the bottom of the sexual totem pole in terms of sexual market value. This is hard for them to acknowledge and accept, but that's how it is. The hard truth, guys, is that black women are almost nobody's type. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but as we all know, the exception never makes the rule. Anyway, the better I got at sleeping with better-looking girls, the less attention I paid to sisters. And eventually, black women became as sexually invisible to me as the average man is to the average woman. Something else I figured out rather quickly was that black women positively hated the fact that I was dating white girls and Latinas. Now, they didn't tell me this personally, but believe me when I tell you their body language and looks of fury they shot in my direction, that was evidence enough. Outside of showing proof that my relationship techniques yield good results, I've never really been one to care about what people thought about who I was dating or smashing at the time, least of all sisters. But after regularly getting dirty looks from black girls when I strolled by with yet another pretty white girl, the light bulb in my head finally went off and something dawned on me. What dawned on me was that black women are upset because they don't have the same options available to them as we do. In other words, they're mad that as a collective, we as black men can date out far more successfully than they can. And bless their hearts, they try their damnedest to convince us it's the other way around. But just because Prince Harry made the egregious mistake of marrying Meghan Markle doesn't mean that white men are lining up around the block to wife up sisters. Now, on the other hand, it appears that a lot of black men seem to think the same thing. That is, most of us believe that we can't date outside of our race as much as we're actually able to do. But black men as a collective, what we need to do, we need to understand that as black men, we have more options than the average rank and file black woman. Yes, a lot of black men understand this, but it appears that most of us do not. Most of us are grossly unaware of the fact that there are greener pastures out there for us in terms of our options for short to long-term relationships. But I'd like to quickly rewind back to when black men and black women were racially loyal to each other and to sort of find out when and why this divide took place. At the height of the civil rights movement in the mid-1960s, black women were absolute ride or die for black men. They stood by their black husbands who were shot, beaten, stabbed, and endured just about every inhumane, prejudiced treatment imaginable. Black men were appreciative of their women for sticking by them through tough times and rewarded them with their undying loyalty. But second-wave feminism was also in full swing and winning the hearts and minds of both black men and women countrywide. Unfortunately, black women fell prey to this influence, which started the precipitous decline of the American black woman. Fast forward nearly 6 decades, and it appears that a lot of black women are insufferable at best and absolutely radioactive to black men at worst. As a result, brothers have started checking out in droves, and an increasing number of black men who are giving up on pursuing black women grows by the day. Now, it wasn't always like this. By the time second-wave feminism really hit its stride and began to influence sisters, black men were still under the impression that their women would still ride for them through thick and thin. But by the time the 80s ended and the 1990s began, we started waking up to the harsh reality that a lot of sisters were starting to become a lot more trouble than they were worth. The juice, as they say, wasn't worth the squeeze. Now, in 2022, with the help of social media and the internet at large, black men are far more aware of the true nature, licentiousness, and overall toxicity that so many black women embody. And as a result, a good number of us started dating other races of women and have completely abandoned pursuing black women altogether. Now, this new dating strategy has spawned a lot of men like myself, who routinely discuss the advantages and disadvantages of dating non-black women, as well as our negative experiences with dating black women. Naturally, this has caused a fair amount of pushback from black women and the black community at large. However, their characterization of our talking points would have you believe that all we do is bash black women, and nothing could be further from the truth. Yes, there are some SYSBM content creators out there who do nothing but bash sisters, but their First Amendment right to freedom of speech allows them to do so. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've never been critical of black women, because I most certainly have. Am I sorry about it? No. Why should I be? Black women are critical of black men all the time, but I don't complain about it because I don't date them. It would be foolish of me to care about the opinions of a group of women I'm no longer romantically interested in, because quite frankly, it's a waste of time. But anytime I'm critical of black women, I'm always met with labels of misogynoir and you hate black women and so forth. The late great Kevin Samuels was also called a woman hater, but that clearly wasn't true. He was simply pointing out the issues that black women have, and predictably, sisters didn't like it and started throwing around allegations. Gentlemen, this is one of the fundamental differences between the average man and the average woman here in the 21st century. Most men can take constructive criticism. Most of us are capable of hearing something about ourselves that is particularly difficult to hear, but not take it personally most of the time. I will use myself as an example. Back when I weighed over 300 pounds, a buddy of mine said to me, "Hey man, you're a fat ass. You can complain about your life all you want to, but most of your problems are a direct result of you being overweight." Now, I didn't take that personally at all because I knew he was right. And as you guys can see, I was a fat ass. I was also lazy, undisciplined, and was not interested in watching what I ate. When I found this community, it was the same thing. I was told that I was weak-willed, supplicated to women, and did not hold them accountable for treating me poorly. This was very hard to hear, but again, this information hit the bullseye and I had no issue with it. Kevin Samuels merely pointed out what today's black women need to be told. Up to that point, it was obvious that they had never been told, by a man of Kevin's stature anyway, that in order to qualify for men like him, they needed to make a few changes. For the better part of the last quarter century, black women have been told that they deserve high-value men regardless of their fitness level. They've been told that even though they have multiple children by multiple men, that they still qualify for the high-value men they want. Kevin straight up told these women, no, you don't qualify. That's not attacking black women, gentlemen. That is simply telling them the truth about themselves. And unlike most men, most women take offense to the truth. If it hurts their feelings, they feel attacked. And one of the main reasons Kevin was the biggest star on YouTube before he passed, God rest his soul, is because he's the avatar. He's the guy women are chasing. But he told them they don't qualify, and they didn't like it. They liked him even less when he told them what they had to do in order to qualify. You see, sisters don't like being told that they need to improve their fitness level. They also don't like being told that their children severely damage their dating prospects. They don't like being told what they need to hear. This is exactly why black women characterized Kevin's message as an attack on black women. But the bottom line is that the average white girl is far more feminine and cooperative than the average black woman, and that's all there is to it. This is exactly why so many top 5% black men are married to or are in relationships with non-black women. It's femininity, it's deference, it's respect. True femininity combined with being unafraid to show us and tell us that they're interested is so powerful that a man's reaction to something they aren't used to getting from black women looks like they're pedestalizing women of other races. According to black women, talking about the advantages of dating outside of our race is glorifying the white woman. But that doesn't bother me at all because number one, it's not true, and number two, I don't care what black people think of my dating choices. Black men like myself who date out don't give a damn about what people say about our choices in women. As far as I'm concerned, they can call us whatever they want because in the end, it doesn't matter what they think. I don't take offense to black men or black women who throw shade on me for having a white girlfriend, because despite their hate, I know my relationship is a hell of a lot more peaceful than their relationships. My girl is fit, feminine, and friendly. She helps me make money and genuinely enjoys making me happy. So scathing comments about our relationship just bounce off me. But it needs to be stated that we don't have to denigrate black women. They do a good enough job of that all by themselves. So there's no need for me to throw gasoline on the fire and bash them all day long because they do a good enough job. However, there is an obvious hypocrisy that comes from their rhetoric. You see, while black women routinely criticize black men for dating non-black women, they don't necessarily keep that same energy for the small percentage of black women who do the same. Take a look and listen.
I think the solution here is for black men, date, marry, love black women, which I know is super hypocritical because I've dated white men. I have.
Men like myself are constantly criticized for dating non-black women because we come from the womb of a black woman. But if you were to ask a black woman who dates non-black men if she felt guilty because her father is black, she would tell you, of course not. Yes, my father is black, but that doesn't mean I'm obliged to date black men. I can date whoever I want. I don't belong to them or anyone else. And guess what? Those women would be 392% correct. Black women don't owe us a damn thing. However, the pendulum swings both ways. Black men don't owe black women anything either, least of all making them our first choice for relationships. Black women seem to be the only group of people that feels entitled to black men simply because they give birth to black men. But ladies, I've got news for you. We do not belong to our mothers. We are not their property. And your kids don't belong to you either. You don't own your sons, ladies. Your son does not have to date a black woman simply because you are his birth mother. He is his own person and he has the right and free will to make his own choices. Which brings me to Cynthia G. And let me go ahead and start off by saying I don't have a problem with Cynthia G personally. She has strong opinions about black men and she does have a right to voice them. I'm not mad at her. I don't despise her. I hold no ill will toward her. I wish her a long and happy life doing whatever it is she wants to do. And I'm not being facetious. This is from the heart. And if sharing strong opinions about her negative experiences with black men, if that's what she wants to do, who am I to complain about it? She's not my problem. However, just like Cynthia G has the right to express her views, I have the right to disagree with her views and discuss it at length.